Okay. Duality is something that I see a lot of people getting stuck on. You're trying to uphold yourself as this ideal of a good person, of a righteous person, when in actuality you're not a person. And this idea of righteousness was set up before you were even born. You had no input into what means righteous. Righteousness is not something that you adopt into yourself. Righteousness is something that you carry with you naturally from birth as a result of you being divine. When you reach into your inner self and you remove all duality, you remove all images that society has put into you, and you raise inside of you a natural righteousness. That's the truth of the situation. The type of righteousness that we're used to thinking of, the type of righteousness that a dualistic mentality is trying to uphold in itself, isn't real. Oh wait, there isn't any duality whatsoever. If you have duality, you have to have separation. You're not going to get anywhere by attempting to hold yourself up to being a good person, holding yourself up to this duality of good and bad and evil and not evil and darkness and light. The only reason that light is what you are isn't because you're not darkness, isn't because you haven't been there in this life or in previous lives, which has brought you to where you are right now and brought out all what needs to be changed in the world. The reason that you're light is because that's all that there is, and it's encompassing of everything. So again, if you have duality, then you have to have a separation of good versus evil. And if you believe that you're separate, then there's ignorance there. And if there's ignorance there, then you're wrong. Duality is wrong. You're not separate from those you perceive to be evil. When you die, we go behind the curtains of life, and we see that this was just one play of many, many plays that you played your part in. But however role that you played wasn't a direct expression of your soul unless you remove every image that was there before you were born and allow your soul to express freely. If you're constantly trying to uphold this image of good person, then you're also creating an image of bad person. That's what's called the ego and the shadow self. The ego is what we consider to be the good person, although it's obviously not. Some people consider it to be a good person, And the shadow self is those aspects of the ego which we're afraid of, those aspects that we're not. So if you give attention to duality, you'll create a split consciousness. You'll create a split personality in your mind where you have that which you uphold as what you want to be you from memory and from what other people have implanted into your mind. And then you have that which you're afraid of isn't you. And that's how you start judging other people and feeling separate from other people and hating on other people, because you have this prearranged idea of what kind of person, although there is no such thing, that you judge as bad. So again, don't try to uphold this duality in yourself. Don't try to uphold yourself as a good person ever. Remove all ideas of who you think you are. Remove all things that society has implanted in your head, and then you'll see a natural birthing of what consciousness is truly about, when we're not trying to direct our own growth from the perspective of what society thinks that we should be doing. Society thinks that you should fall in line, go marry someone, tie them to you with the leash, what the hell is that? Go get into a 40-hour-a-week job and drill yourself crazy until you die. Because this is a method to enslave the entire planet and at the same time make them think that they're free. There's a quote that I read from some guy, and he said, you know, the easiest way to enslave a man is to make him think he's free already. So in order to get rid of the dualities in your mind, in order to remove this crap that society is plugging your head up with, the answer is non-definition. When you're thinking or judging somebody, non-definition, be non-defined. In other words, you have no definitions of how you will behave or act set up previous to the moment that you're in, attempting to manipulate you. This is the only way to bring about a level of mental stillness by which you're not constantly interrupting it, thinking if you're doing something bad. That's the way that they get you to enslave yourself, is get you to constantly worry if you're doing something bad, if you're doing something you're not supposed to be. There's nothing that you're not supposed to be doing. There's nothing such as good and bad. There's just who you are, which is everything, expressing however you like, creating your universe uniquely but connected. Because there's only one consciousness infinitely reflected throughout the entirety of creation. How you choose to reflect it shouldn't come from ideas that other people have set up for you, because this is your own unique gift of existence, being able to live in joy and live free from mental bondage, live free from suffering. The universe isn't supposed to be a place of suffering. People just think it's like, oh, such a hard place and that's just the way it is. No, that's the way that it has been because of people who have attitudes like that. The universe is not set up to be evil suffering. It's supposed to be heaven on earth. You go out to a beautiful temple or some serene place in nature, and you'll see that it's not supposed to be like this. It's not supposed to be suffering. It's not supposed to be all this evil, this anger, this greed and dirt and grime. That's an infectious disease on the planet, the same as scabies. And if you allow it to infect your mind, it will hold you back from the bliss that you are. Remember, bliss isn't good or bad. Bliss is non-dual. How can there be a good and bad if there is only one? Who's to decide what's good and bad? The good or the bad? Or the bad is going to decide about the good and whatever, you know? This is all subjective. It's all objective. Meaning that it's dependent, subjective depending on the person looking at it, and objective depending on how they objectify reality in terms of labels and images. All of this creates separation, anxiety, all of that which you're trying to remove from yourself. You create your reality. However that you're thinking is how that you will create reality. However that you are in this moment is how that you will be in future, which doesn't exist because all that there is present. There is no such thing as time. time exists spread out in all places, all points of time-space, eternally. What you're doing is navigating between timelines. So however that you feel in this moment is what timelines you'll attract to you. If you're feeling dualistic, good and bad, bad and evil, you feel better than other people, it's not going to work. You gotta realize that both of these create a harmony, create a beautiful tapestry of experience. We're so used to only holding up a specific ideal of what we like in the world that it's become a cancer, so much so that it's preventing